Welcome back to the Pacemaker rebuild. I'm done with the second layer of paint on these parts here now. Might be that I need another coat. Probably looks good on the movie, but really up close there are some defects. I have problems with foreign particles in the paint. The garage isn't really an ideal place to paint, so even though I sift the paint through a 5-micron filter or whatever it is, there's still stuff in it, and of course you get runs or drips. But if you go over the paint after 10-20 minutes, at least for this paint, then you can fix the drips with by hand or a little brush. This is the clutch handles for the apron, and that's the part for where the hand wheel for the apron traverse goes through. Today I'm working on the support for the lead screw at the tailstock end, and I've taken it all apart except for these caps here. The caps are there for the rapid traverse shaft, which my lathe doesn't have, so it's just capped. Maybe I'll remove them and pull them out so they're flush with the rest of the casting, but we'll see about that. I've noticed a few problems with this piece. First thing I noticed was the bronze bushings in here. They're quite worn. There's a bronze bushing in there too. That's for the clutch rod. That's not so worn, but it has been replaced at some point, because the oil cap that's supposed to be there, I've taken that one out. It doesn't have a hole. So, yeah, it doesn't go through there, so I'll have to drill a hole there, and I'm not sure if I'll make a new bushing. This one feels okay, but here I'll definitely have to make a bushing, or 2 bushings, as there is a, I don't know if you can see that in there. There are 2 bushings, one on each side. And one of the reasons the bushings are worn, I think, is because there are 2 taper pins supposed to go in here. One like so, and one like so. Yeah. And this one is fine. 4.5 inches long. This one is not so fine. You see that? I think this casting has had a run-in with a forklift at some time. And taper pin is quite severely just like skewed over. I have to replace that one. I put on one coat of primer here, but I'll put on one more, and then we'll start painting and see how it comes out. And I'll paint the hand wheel too, or not the whole, but it's kind of a rough casting there. It's still plated, so I have to put primer on that too. And we'll have a look at one over here that I'm almost finished with. One more painting on that one. That's the taper attachment bracket, and some other parts. Here's the cover for the apron. It looks fine from the movie, I suppose, but it needs one more coat because it's not quite even. And I can have a look at I've taken apart more of the tailstock. Here's the tailstock. I've taken off the bottom piece there. It sits on the base. Have a look at that. Was and is maybe in a sorry state. Started scraping it. It's not good, but It's coming along. Yeah. I guess that's the progress so far. Here's the quick change gearbox. I'm happy with that. I have to paint a little bit more here. There is a shaft sitting in here, and this was packed full of, it wasn't putty, but it was some kind of filler, and it was really oil soaked, so I removed all of it, and now I'll just have to touch up the paint here. I won't paint in there, it will just stay like it is. Well, that's all for today, I think. We'll do the second coat of primer here. A time lapse, I think, so you don't get too bored. Well, let's go. That's it for priming. That hand wheel was a bit of a challenge with the roller. I should have had a small brush, but I have a small brush, but the problem is that I don't have any thinner for that primer, so whatever I used to paint with is going in the trash afterwards, except the roller, which I put inside that jar with the primer. It stays fresh in there for some strange reason. It works. And it's a special nylon roller, I think, because it eats that primer eats the foam rollers. Well, a little wet sanding, and I think these parts are ready for paint. It's another day of sanding here. I've done some parts already. Support for the lead screw and hand wheel for the tailstock. Now I need to do the clutch housing there and the part of the taper attachment and another hand wheel. All of these castings are quite uneven, and I've only put primer on the most of them, not any spackle. So I'm trying to get them even, or kind of smooth, not totally flat. So I'll use the flat block on parts of it where it's possible to get it flat. In other parts I'll just use semi-flexible or very flexible block. When you're wet sanding or sanding in general, it's important not to sand in the same direction all the time. So you get it much flatter if you sand in different directions. Take it as far down as the primer, or when I see a little bit of primer or the bare metal underneath. Try not to get too much bare metal, because paint doesn't really stick so well to the bare metal compared to the primer. We can use the flat block. This is underneath this casting, so it really doesn't matter at all. Nobody will ever see it. But when you've started sanding and painting, it's kind of difficult to stop. That's all I have to do. That one. I'll just dry it off, and then before I paint it, I'll wash it with the red spirit. There are drips here, needs more sanding. Try to sand this hand wheel a little bit. Just to get a few high spots off. I should have put primer on this one too, but it had paint on it here. But, I don't think the paint was very even, so it would have been better to put on primer to get a little bit of build. Enough for that one. We'll see if it turns out okay after this paint session. If not, I'll put on another layer. I'll polish the rim of it after it's painted. We're not quite done with the sanding yet, but I thought I'd show you this apron cover. I wasn't happy with the last painting because there are still some impressions or kind of divots, or what we should call them, all over, and I put marker pen in them. Ideally you should spray on a guide coat of black or something, but I didn't want to spray inside here now, so I just used a paint marker to paint the places where it's low. So I'll try to sand and see if I can get all of the red color away, and if I get it away then it should be flat. think we'll do this as a time lapse because it's going to take some time. I finished painting now. This came out okay. There is a little bit of dust in it, but it's unavoidable in here. All the other parts are painted too. That bracket definitely needs another coat or two, but the other pieces might be done. I think I'm done with painting for today.